Hey there, beautiful souls. How is everybody? My name is esmegregg. Thank you for being here. This is Soul Talks with Esme. We are in episode 16. I cannot believe it. I am your host, esmegregg. I'm an intuitive spiritual coach, a certified Reiki master, and a best-selling Amazon author. Like I said, this is episode 16, and I'm just so excited. Let me tell you a little bit about this show. It's a live video podcast where high conscious topics are discussed with the intention to share uplifting stories and helpful personal growth tools. My belief is that we can all learn together as we connect at a soul level and consciously move forward in our journeys towards a happy soul evolution. So yeah, we're all going on a soul evolution, but I want to make sure that mine is happy. And happy doesn't mean that it's always happy. It's that I am feeling joy through the process somehow. So yeah, so that's what I want for everybody. And we are here. Today is Sunday, November 8th, 2020. And I appreciate you joining live. Please say hi in the comments where you're joining us from. And so you still have time to share this video so others can join. We are live on YouTube on the Happy Soul Evolution channel. Also, my Facebook profile, esmegregg, and my Facebook business page, esmegreggcoach. So let me just tell you a little bit more. I would appreciate it so much if you would subscribe. It would help also if you like, comment, and share the videos in the YouTube channel, Happy Soul Evolution. So that way YouTube, the algorithm in YouTube, it looks at all these things. If there's activity, it'll know that you value the content in there. So it would just mean so much to me because next season, I would probably only be live on YouTube. So yeah, so that's why I want you to start going in there, and I appreciate it. Also, always, I appreciate you if you're here live, and also if you're here on the replay. You are just amazing. You're awesome. I love you for that. Okay, so we're going to talk to Miss Katie Morgan. Katie is in the UK, and I'm excited that she's here. We're going to talk about how to heal your past and your story. And let me tell you a little bit about Katie and then bring her on. So Katie is an energy channel, a healer, a coach, and the founder of Head Straight, an online training and development center for holistic well-being. She helps heart-centered women to increase their confidence, embrace their true soul calling, and empower them to apply their intuitive gifts in a practical way so that they can receive abundance and wealth in every area of their life. Who doesn't want that? So Katie's clients come to learn how to empower themselves as we move into a golden age, connect with their soul and higher selves, align with their energy system so they can create a life and business that feeds their soul. And so they can experience more free time to spend with their loved ones, live, enjoy, and embrace new opportunities full of energy. Wow, that sounds so cool. That's what I want to do when I grow up, Katie. Let me bring you on.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm just so excited. Let me see. So you're in the UK. What time is it for you right now?
It's just gone 8 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, it's been actually quite a nice day here today. So it's obviously starting to become very wintry.
Oh, it is. It's winter. Well, I'm in Texas, so it's 2 p.m. Central Time.
Nice.
And it's getting hotter again, so it's warming up. So here the weather, it's our winters are very mild.
Yeah, I think we'll be heading in your direction at some point.
And you guys started the lockdown Thursday or Friday?
Thursday, yeah, Thursday, the second time. So there's been sort of local lockdowns, but we hadn't been caught up in that until Thursday. So now we're on a 4-week lockdown again. It doesn't seem to be as strict for certain places. It's just all the fun stuff, really, all the fun stuff that has been taken away, all the hospitality and like beauty, hair, anything like that, really.
Wow. Well, in the US, our numbers are going up, and without getting political, there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of change, and hopefully a lot of healing.
Absolutely.
And I don't know.
It's been a crazy week for you all.
Yes, the week just went by. Every 4 years, I learn a lot. So let me take a few minutes to say hi to everybody that's here. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Anisha. Thank you for always being here. Happy Sunday. Thank you. Anna. Hi, Anna. Anna's in Greece. So we have friends in Greece. Thank you so much for being here. Marta. Hello. Marta is a few hours away from me. So she's here in Texas. Jace is also in the UK. So we have a fellow UK people, and whoever's watching behind the scenes and doesn't want to say hi, that's fine. I appreciate you being here. And so, Katie, I read your bio.
Yeah.
And I really connect with what you do, because in different words, we basically do the same thing. And a lot of us that are involved in the healing modalities, that's basically what we do, right? And so tell me a little bit more about your story and how you got into healing.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would always have described myself as quite spiritual. I didn't fully know what that meant as a child or teenager, and I'm 45 now, so of course all those years ago I didn't necessarily have people around me that even could help guide me. I would go off to like spiritualist churches and sort of dabble a little bit, but it wasn't until 1997 that I was introduced to Reiki. By fluke. I was at a friend's house. I was struggling with a cold that wouldn't quite come or go away. And she just said, look, I've just trained in this. I'm struggling with ME. This is what was suggested to me. And if I'm totally honest, I just felt quite relaxed. I didn't really think too much of it, but up for trying something new. And she just said, tomorrow you might feel a little bit ropey, but after that you should be fine. And she was not kidding. Every cold or flu symptom that you could possibly imagine literally came out. And I was working as a PA at the time, and I was in an office environment. Luckily, it was a Friday. Got to the end of the day. I mean, if anything else could hurt or ache, or it was just crazy. I just couldn't believe it. But I went to bed very early that day. And the next morning I was up and cleaning the house and thinking, but this is just madness. I actually can't believe how amazing I feel, bearing in mind how terrible I felt the day before. So I picked the phone up and I just said to my mum, I need to hear more about this. I don't understand how this has happened. I don't understand what is going on here. And then it was my birthday in the July. And I was in Greece on holiday with my sister, and she just popped an envelope across the table over breakfast. And my parents had found somewhere where I could train. So had the opportunity to go off and start my first Reiki adventure. But to be honest, back then, and certainly in the UK, I didn't find that I had a huge amount of people still to speak to really understand what I was doing. So I kind of dabbled a little bit and went backwards and forwards. And it wasn't actually really, if I'm totally honest, until I had my daughter, because I realized that I had to up my game, because she was starting to speak to spirits, which sadly seems to have disappeared at the moment. But, at age 2, she would just be telling me what she could see. And it was, I've really got to up my game here now, because obviously, you know, she was an old soul. She was on her own journey, and I wanted to make sure that I could protect her. But when I had Evie, it's a blessing now, but I actually nearly lost my life. I sadly had gone into shock after having her and having a cesarean. And I very clearly remember to this day the voice that spoke to me saying I could leave if I wanted to. And that was really, really like an incredible conversation. And I was totally shocked and just said, but don't be ridiculous. I've just had a baby. I can't just leave. And they did say to me, if you stay, it's fine. But I can tell you it's going to be really hard for the next phase of your life. But if you can get through that, it's going to be incredible.
Wow, that's amazing.
Really fascinating. But it wasn't actually until this year, when she turned 13, that it really became part of my story, really. I have been healing my own story, have been embracing and obviously helping others to do the same. But this year was actually quite a big year for me to sit back and acknowledge that she would never have known who her mummy was, and my husband's life would have been very, very different had I have opted out on that day. And so I think when you have a near-death experience, you start looking at life in a very, very different way.
Wow. So, yeah. People are saying, whoa, that's incredible. And wow, there's like 5 or 3 wow. Sorry. Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. And I love that. And you told me this story when we spoke last week, and I'm still amazed. I love that. Yeah. I love that unfortunately, some of us, we need that near death, something experience. Absolutely. And I'm so grateful that, and I'm sure you are, and your family and your loved ones, and we all are, that you were given that choice. Isn't that amazing? And it was made very clear to you.
Yeah. I mean, I do still sort of think I couldn't tell you that I saw anything. It was just darkness, but I could tell you if that voice started speaking to me again now, I would know it.
So you haven't heard it or felt it?
Not since.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear other voices and have other sort of experiences, but not that particular voice. And I think that potentially, because it was my choice of whether or not I stayed or went, they didn't want to necessarily show me something, and I didn't think to ask. So that was quite interesting. But the problem is, when you've just had a baby, you're not thinking about yourself and your own health. I mean, I knew that I was poorly and had lost a lot of blood and stayed in hospital for almost a week, which is unheard of here. But yeah, I mean, you very quickly go into your mummy role, and you just get on with doing what you're supposed to be doing as a mum. And it was very easy for me, because of everything, to push everything down emotionally, which is what a lot of people do. And it just proves, isn't it? We all can do that at some stage, even if you do think that you know better, because you just can't deal with something at the time.
Right. It's like a survival mechanism, right? We put it in compartments, and we're like, okay, we're going to deal with this. To me, I call it, because I have my junk room, like I'm going to clean this room up later. This is where all my stuff is going to go. So it's like, I'm going to deal with this later. And it's not so great when we do that with ourselves. And so we are going to talk more about how to heal our story and heal our past. And yeah, people are just saying, this is so fascinating and an amazing journey. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that story with us. Yeah. And so then 13 years later, your daughter is 13.
Yeah.
And that was this year or last year?
No, this year. So in February, yeah.
I was going to say, because last year we both participated in the multi-author book, and so that's how we know each other.
Absolutely.
So you wrote a chapter, I wrote a chapter. Martha was in there, so Martha wrote a chapter, and a lot of our friends, a lot of the people I've interviewed have participated in either in Trailblazers or the other books that have come out after that with Adriana. But so I'm assuming in the book you shared that story. I can't remember. No, it was a different story.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready, and afterwards came away because I've never done anything like that before. I don't think I really know which story, because there had been sort of so many, but in a short period of time. And I think I played it really, really safe, but I obviously wasn't ready to go there on such a deep journey at the time.
Yes.
So it's been, an incredible journey, to be honest with you. I feel like, because of course she's going to turn 14 February, and it feels like it's the end of like 2 7-year cycles.
Oh yeah, because the voice told you you're going to have a hard 7 years.
Well, they just said the next phase. Next phase.
Okay.
But I know kind of the cycles tend to come in 7s, don't they? So I'm thinking, well, 14 obviously would be two of those.
Wow.
And actually around the 7 years, the first 7 years, I nearly became bankrupt. And so there's just been layers and layers and layers of stuff, really, as a knock-on effect from that. It was almost like I had come back as a different soul. And I don't know how else to explain that, because I think that's also why it was so much of a shock. I didn't have issues with money blocks. You know, I was in like what I call my past life. I was with an ex-boyfriend the majority of my 20s. You know, we would travel to Thailand, we would go to Sri Lanka, we would go to beautiful places, you know. And then it was almost like when I left him and started on my new adventure, and then of course then having Evie, that things started to change. It was almost like the scene was set, and then I was given the opportunity to leave, and then it was like my soul changed. It was almost like I could have opted out because I had learned maybe what I needed to. You know, I can't fully answer that question for myself at the moment. But then it was almost like I then came back being a new mum, trying to understand what on earth I was meant to be doing, and suddenly having all of these new lessons coming in. So things I would have normally been able to do suddenly became really tough. But then also bringing in the energetics of 2012, and of course, you know, if you're into the energies, then you know there was big things going on then, and that's when I was, you know, potentially sort of pushed to my limit. Sort of financially, and needed to step away, having staff, etc., and like bring it back to myself, and then just being gradually building up on that.
Wow, so, it's amazing, and sometimes I wonder, I don't know, you know, but sometimes I feel like we have these karmic contracts, you know.
Absolutely.
And it can be with people or with certain experiences.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it's like, because some people really, really, and I'm not saying this is your case, but just in general, I think, and in general, I think we learn through experience.
Of course.
And so sometimes I wonder, you know, like, so I do a lot of meditations where I'm clearing these contracts.
Yeah.
And you know, just a side note. So to start the healing process of the past and the story.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you sharing all of these beautiful personal stories, and thank you. And so, let's start going into how to heal our past and how to heal our story.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're not aware, you're not aware, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
We've all been there at some point.
Yeah.
I think we're born aware.
Yeah.
But we're little babies, so we can't communicate. And so we learn the ways that we're taught.
Yeah.
And then we kind of dim our light and dim our spirit, and if we don't, then we're labeled, you know, mischievous or rebellious or the black sheep of the family.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So with all of that, but somewhere in there, usually when we get to our 30s, maybe in our 20s, but 30s and 40s, and maybe even older, we start realizing that we can choose.
Absolutely.
And so tell us about that.
Yeah, I think certainly when I got into my 40s, I think you stop worrying so much about what other people perhaps think about you personally. For myself anyway, much more than maybe in my 20s, although I probably would have said I had much more confidence back in my 20s, because of course I've been through this traumatic sort of so many years. But I think by the age of 40, you tend to know who your team are around you, your support team, and especially again when you've been through situations, you get to know who are there as a constant, don't you? And understanding who's got your back, and vice versa. But the healing your story really, for me, is so important, because many people don't even, of course, I've spoken about quite big traumas, but whilst being on my journey, I've understood that perhaps there are things that have happened back when I was a teenager. It could be just one conversation I had with somebody, and that has had to come up to be unraveled on such a deep level, because it's hindered me moving forward now. So even like with money blocks and things like that, I mean, actually that for me really started back when I was 18 months old and tripped over a piece of carpet and poured a boiling kettle of water on myself. I don't remember it, but it was a trauma. So you have, I've had sort of big traumas through my life, but then equally the smaller ones, breakups maybe when I was younger, boyfriends, etc. But then also the hidden traumas that then sort of rise up. And that's for me where the gold lies, because when I had money blocks, it took me back to when I was 18 months. And the reason was because if I'd listened to my mum, social services wouldn't have wanted to take me away. I'm not saying that they were, but energetically that was going on around me. And if I'd listened to my mum, we would have just had a really nice family meal, and my grandparents were coming round and we would have sat and eaten pizza, etc. So for me, that actually was quite a key one, because there are certain times throughout my life where my mum hasn't been able to help me, and I would almost be throwing my toys out of my pram, because it's like, well, why can't you help me now? So because it had been programmed almost right from the beginning. And of course, I wouldn't have known any different. And like you said at the beginning, we're all souls. We're all souls on our own journey. And then when we are born, we are given everybody else's baggage as well, or taking it on board. And so if there are, relationship issues, or, money blocks, or, there can be a whole list of, things that we struggle with in our adult life that are normally connected to our childhood, could be attached also to past lives, future lives, etc., and getting onto different timelines. But equally, it's important that if our life isn't working out as we want it to understand how to then go back, rewire it to be able to get onto a better timeline, so then it plays out throughout your life, and then it stops hindering you, because you need to hold the frequencies to be able to actually attract everything that you desire in your life. And if you can't hold those frequencies, it's just, you can try and manifest all you like, but if you're not holding the frequency, it's so much harder for it to actually flow through.
Oh, this is so key. And and I love this because it's so true. It gets into, you know, the quantum universe.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's like when we're repeating the story, whether it's telling the story, oh, you know, I've had this knee pain for 35 years, you know, whatever the story is about the old football injury or the
100%.
or the accident, you know, that whatever. It's so what, as healers, right, as people that help people heal, I don't like saying that we're healers, because I think we talked about that. It's
we did.
Like we're not a healer. We're actually just so in tune with our own self-healing that when we do help you, we're actually activating your own healing capabilities. And so we're just a medium, a vessel. Of that. But just to skip all those words, we may just say healer. But so we can decide, but we just don't know that we can stop, number one, verbalizing and repeating the story, because words have energy. And so all we're doing is repeating. So it's almost like you wake up and you're like rewinding the tape from the previous day, and you're just clicking play again. And your day, your thoughts, your actions are probably going to be pretty similar. So when we're wondering, why is my life the same, and why am I not doing something, and how come I can't, I don't know, go and exercise like I really want to because my doctor tells me, guess what? When, not to put a curse on anybody, but the time when you're going to get up and go do exercise is when you go to the emergency room.
Absolutely.
And there's like an urgent, your body can't take it anymore. So it's that crisis, right? And we don't, I don't think we don't have to get to that point where we're in so much pain or in suffering, or we're like about to die. And so we can start, excuse me, rewriting and rewiring our brain. And so do you have some tips or some practical ways that you can help us and give our listeners, you know, so that they can start practicing on how to rewrite and how to heal their story, which means letting go of the past and rewriting all of that. So they can move forward.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, you know, my past has been very much about the body, being a reflexologist and masseur, obviously bringing Reiki into it. And over a period of years of understanding, you know, our bodies are talking to us all of the time. And so just to sort of carry on from what you were saying, for me, disease is dis-ease. So you're dis-eased with something in your life, so it manifests as an ailment within your body. And so quite often people would have come in to sort of say to me that they've got something wrong with, I don't know, their right ankle and their right elbow or whatever. And I would always say, well, what was the first thing that came up? What was the first thing that showed up? Because for me, joints all mean the same thing. So, but it was for me, it's interesting on which side of the body it's on, because then it's male or female, you know. And being sort of fairly psychic, I could then kind of fill in the gaps. So it helped them unravel what was going on. And that's really how my journey sort of like offline started. Moving forward, and now with the Heal Your Story Secret Sanctuary, which is like a membership site really of collective people that are all wanting and desiring more. And in there, I start sort of showing them how to unravel and understand the traumas, the hidden traumas, and the tools and techniques really that we use. It for me is a combination of journaling, because it's amazing what your body, like I said, is talking to you. And by writing things down, it's incredible what actually starts flowing up. and sort of, and then not just leaving it there, then going on the next journey of understanding what that is telling you and what lessons that you're needing to learn, and then bringing in other tools and techniques such as EFT, Reiki, understanding the scripts, changing the mindset. And as a combination of doing all of these things, and I use different tools depending on what I'm dealing with, and that's exactly how I teach others to be able to do it, because it depends on what they're trying to do, and what feels right for them at the time. By being able to do that, it aligns again. All of the energy system removes things. You start understanding why perhaps you're not trusting people, and it doesn't come back. It doesn't relate to what you thought that perhaps it did, or being responsible for something. And I just absolutely, I mean, we never, ever, ever stop our journey. So as much as I'm still going through mine and still going, aha, these aha moments, but I now just absolutely love seeing even how I develop, but then seeing how, I was going to call them students, I don't want to call them students, but the team, actually, there is these real aha moments, and then suddenly their life changes. And to see them sort of go, I can't believe that I saw life this way, and now I've changed my script, and I totally get it. And they're sending Reiki to the situation, or they're, some people come to me already, with Reiki, and like we said before, it's not particularly that well spoken about, but you hear so many other modalities, but it's an incredible tool that can be used, and not necessarily just for healing ailments, which, quite often that is what people say, but you can use it to manifest, align your energies, sending it and paving the way to the situation. And it's such a lovely tool to have, because it sends you into such a beautiful meditative state. And I don't know any other modality to date that you can literally rub your hands together and just send yourself off into just that meditative state to get clarity and understand, perhaps quieting, I can't say it my tongue, quieting the mind down to enable you to be able to actually process the information that's coming through, because sometimes we're just so in our head and super crazy, and it's so important to invite our soul into our body to understand what actually the body is saying to us.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Amen. Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah. But the most important thing is to have fun with it.
Yes. Yeah. Because, okay. So if you guys have questions, write them in the comments, or if you want to share anything, please do participate. Let us know what you're thinking of this. And thank you again for being here. So I'm excited because just a couple of days ago, my days are, I don't know. It was Friday. I did this guest. I was a guest speaker for this group, and we talked about intuition, how to develop your intuition. Guess what? It's the same thing, exactly what you're talking about. And the way I explained it, and I thought I was like, I had this great idea, like, oh, this is how I'm going to explain it. And just coincidentally, yesterday I clicked on a pin in Pinterest. And then I watched a little reel video, and the lady said verbatim exactly what I shared, what I thought was my great idea, but so we all received
just confirming.
Right. So it was funny because I was like, I've never heard it like this, but I'm going to share this. So to me, intuition and connecting with our body is like learning a new language.
Absolutely.
But then I said, but you're learning a language that you already know. You just forgot that you knew it.
Absolutely.
And that language is in our body. And so those messages are, our body receives the frequencies, which is how, think of animals. Yeah. Animals, they have that knowing, that sixth sense, for example, that a storm is coming. And so, they go and hide, or an earthquake or whatever. I mean, that's been scientifically proven, right? Different ways. I may not be explaining it fully, but we all know that animals, and we have that because
even tribes, isn't it? You know, you have these tribes that, you know, are not used to, you know, don't live anything like us. I mean, they know with the crops and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. How did people know all these magical things before internet, you know?
Exactly.
And so we've lost that connection with our body, with our energy, with our soul.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to get back to. So I love that you said that. And of course, I love Reiki. I also found Reiki in 1997. So it's funny that we have basically the same year.
Yeah.
But it took me 20 years or so because I had to go through all the life experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love that. Basically, to me, when we can heal our past with Reiki, it's almost like sending a blessing, I think. Sending an intention and a blessing to our past, to forgiveness, whether it's a certain person or events, or even things that we are not aware of.
Yeah.
For example, like family, like ancestral beliefs and passed down, let's say, I don't know, like maybe your great-grandparents had a fight and they shot each other or something like that, something traumatic. Well, that was stored in your grandparents' DNA and then passed down to your parents and then passed down to you.
Yeah.
So our genes and our DNA have that memory.
Absolutely.
And we don't even know about it. It's that subconscious. And so that's the type of stuff, right? That you're also.
Absolutely. And I think that's what can keep us small because, you know, it's not ours. It's not ours. And if we can actually let that go, you know, whether it's in our conscious or subconscious mind, if we can let that go, we can receive abundance. And, you know, it's so frustrating when you see so many people struggling or living in their, you know, everything, you know, works out. If people are obviously wanting to do this and, you know, understanding it, they will do it when the time is right for them. But, you know, to see people kind of living very much in their heads rather than understanding that they have control, they can make a difference, you know. And the silly thing is that's exactly what they're trying to do, but they're trying to do it from up here rather than their heart.
Yes.
And, you know, and anyone that says this journey, you know, I've seen it quite a lot in different feeds with, there's lots of divides going on at the minute, isn't there, around the world with lots of different things. And I saw something recently sort of saying it's something to do with spiritual people, you know, it's rainbows and unicorns. And anybody that thinks that they couldn't be further from the truth. I think we're just the ones that are prepared to actually really go to places where it hurts.
Yes.
Because we don't want to feel like that anymore. And we just know that if we can shift that, then there's a different future for us. And energetically, you feel different. I mean, once I started doing this work, you know, my entire energy system was starting to change and I could feel it inside. You know, it took a little bit longer for it necessarily to show up in my 3D world, but to actually feel that, there was nothing anybody could do to take that feeling away from me. And I've just felt lighter and lighter. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to be, is lighter beings.
Exactly.
But, so the more baggage you can get rid of, the freer you are to go and receive the life that you actually desire and deserve. And it's your birthright.
Yes. And the example I like to give is like a clear glass of water.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe we were born with this empty vessel, as an empty, beautiful crystal glass. And then it started getting filled, maybe with some muddy water, you know, some junk. And so it wasn't a clear glass.
Absolutely.
And so it's our job to fill it with the clear, the pure, the things that really make us feel alive and feel love. And that's that clear water until it's clear, pure, and it's truly you. So that's what we want to get to, where you're just really truly connected. And we have a question. So we're being asked, how do we sever those ties and curses?
Okay.
Like family curses or generational.
Okay, well, there's lots that you could do, really. Cord cutting is something that I would personally use for something like that, because you can actually visualize the person in front of you and then perhaps 5, 7 generations behind them. So, because quite often when I'm working with clients, a lot of guilt comes up. Oh, I don't want to give that back to my parents. But it's like, well, actually, it's not really your parents either. We don't actually know where this comes from. So just allow it to flow through them and away from you. And also offering any forgiveness and sending it away with absolute love, because it's allowed you to get to where you are now.
Yes.
You know, it's just, you know, and forgiving yourself perhaps of being resentful or worrying about certain things, you know, whatever that is, just be grateful. But then once the cords, you know, you can sever them, silver sword, ask Archangel Michael to come in and cut them, and just allow, you know, everything just to move on as it needs to, and you just feel more energetically calmer.
Yes, and that's thank you for that question. And it's something that we can do ourselves, or when I have a session, a Reiki type healing session with somebody, and I'm sure you do that too. You know, we help you with that. And so
it's sometimes hard doing it yourself, because that's when the script comes in.
Yes,
isn't it?
We hide things from ourselves. And we're laughing because we know this for a fact, because I'm sure me and you haven't worked together, but when I work with other friends, it's like almost we know. It's like I would say to a friend, like I know there's something, I can't see it, you know, and then when they say it, it's like, oh, I knew it, but I thought I got rid of that, or you know.
Absolutely.
And so it's those connections. It's basically energetic strings. We call them cords. And it's just these energetic strings that we have with basically everybody that we communicate with. And so we can do this on a daily basis. Also, I think another tip is it's kind of well known, but in case people don't know, it's when you're taking a shower, you know, you can visualize that, you know, the shower is energy. And if it helps you, you can imagine it's like a certain color, whatever color you like, or whatever color feels good. And so the water is a certain color, and visualize that it's also going inside of you. And just feel how it's physically cleaning you, right? It's removing the soap or the shampoo, and it's all going down the drain. So you can kind of visualize that it's all going down the drain. And so you can also visualize those cords and those strings just melting away, and you're releasing them. And technically you're not sending anything back to anybody. You're just asking for all of that to be cleared and transmuted. And whatever needs to go back to whoever, it'll be actually beautiful love energy, because you've asked for it to be transmuted. So it's not like you're not saying, oh, here's all that anger and hate that you gave me 10 years ago. I wish it back upon you, and I cursed you. And no, that's not what we're doing.
It'll probably be coming straight back at you.
So thanks for that question. And so I love your tip of journaling, because it helps things to come up. So journaling, and what was the other thing you said?
Well, it was journaling and understanding the script, but also just not just leaving it at journaling, you know, actually diving in then the lessons behind and understanding what they are. It's just, you know, and then having the tools, having a toolbox of things that, you know, The thing is, what I find is a lot of this stuff that, we can potentially do by ourselves, but every now and then we have situations that come up that actually we need help. And I don't know anybody that doesn't, because, we are all striving to reach something or do something or know that we need to heal something. But on occasions, it's just much easier and quicker to work with other people, to allow them to help guide you on how to move forward. And hearing the scripts, understanding what's going on, even asking sort of questions that perhaps trigger you in some way. But that's a good thing, being triggered. I love being triggered, because it's like, oh, there's something there that needs to be kind of looked into, not, oh, how dare you.
Yes. And when we're triggered, that's like a lesson, right? Like, 100%. Why, for example, like there's a specific person, right? I remember this person used to trigger me, and very specific things about this person. And this was years ago. And then when I learned about this, that, well, maybe that person is in your life to teach you a lesson, to help you outgrow that thing that triggers you.
Yeah.
And that was insulting to me in the sense of like, oh my God, like this person is meant to be in my life.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's the same with mirroring as well, isn't it? That people are mirroring different aspects of your own, or of yourself. But then, if you've got somebody that you think, oh, I'm not too sure about you, you've got to love it, because it's a reflection. If something's triggered you, it's a reflection of something that you need to heal, understand, embrace.
And maybe it's a quality in yourself.
Absolutely.
That you're not willing to see, but you can easily see it in others.
That's why I like having fun with it, because actually sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, seriously, I had no idea that that's what was going on. But, once you start getting in the flow with this, it's almost like every day's an adventure, because you're like seeing it through childlike eyes. You're kind of going, oh, okay, so what's going to happen today then? Or what's going to flag up? And, it can be anything that triggers you.
Yes.
So it's just taking responsibility, for want of a better term.
Exactly. Because if we don't take responsibility, then we're victims.
Absolutely.
And we're helpless.
Yeah.
And my hands are tied, and nobody's coming to save me. I had to, that's something I'm still kind of working through, because as a young little girl, I think it was built into me, like, people are going to do things for you, or I don't know, even though I did do a lot of things, maybe I, helped my mom a lot. And so I had to grow up a lot, maybe, I don't know. So the psychology, maybe that, it's like I'm trying to go back to relive that childhood. But guess what? No, I can't, because I can in a certain way. So I actually had a wonderful healing session with one of my friends, and we did some inner child healing, which I had done so many times. But it's so helpful when somebody else helps you with it.
Absolutely.
And these triggers are there actually, they're there to show you, to teach you something.
Totally. And sometimes you have to revisit. I did this so many times, and even now, sometimes I have to go back to the same scenario. But you're like, seriously, have I not healed this? I've been here 4 times already. But it's a different layer, and it just means that it's just dissolving, and it's just changing and shifting. And it could be just a different feeling that you've got to maybe align for some reason. But the way that I describe it is, as we come in, say, as a soul, we've got our little onion, and then our baggage, we just become a bigger onion. And by doing this work, it just means we're peeling back all of those layers. And what actually happens is you stop flipping back maybe to when you were 6 years old, when you were 15, when you were sat in an office at 26, or whatever it is that you were doing. You stop flipping back to those scenarios because you can start living in the now more. And so it's really beautiful once you start getting to that stage and understanding where this comes from, and maybe flipping it a little bit to, those scenarios may not be exactly how you see them. And so by twisting it around, or maybe looking at it from somebody else's perspective or from a different angle, you can kind of go, do you know what? I've never thought about that, because you can be so caught up in your story or the trauma of a story or whatever it is, but it's not happening to us now. It happened then.
Right.
And so it's just a memory, and that memory can be changed.
And we the more we think about it and talk about it, it's just, we're just giving it, we're feeding that fire, and we're keeping it alive.
Not healing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about it to heal it and to really go deep within, but not to just share it and be in a victim type mode.
Yeah.
And so I like what you said, and it's so true that, you know, we can rewrite it, you know.
Yeah.
I always think of, usually, you know, we blame our parents for all the stuff from our childhood. And for me, and I'm sure for most people, and if you're not ready to hear this, maybe this will help you later. But for example, like it helped me a lot. I'm sure. What do you think? When I realized, I heard or read somewhere, you know, what if your mom was doing the best she could with what she knew? That's all she knew.
Yeah.
She parented you, or he or she, you know, your parents were parenting you.
Absolutely.
The way they learned, you know, the way with what they knew.
Totally.
And so when you start having compassion for them and what they went through in their story, and then we start, we can kind of forgive and have compassion for that and say, okay, you know, that sucked or whatever, but I'm here now and I can rewrite the story, because now I'm not looking at it from the perception of a 5-year-old.
Totally.
I'm looking at it from the perception of however old you are now, with a new set of eyeballs.
Yeah. And just because they're your parents in this life, we're all equal souls. So it's just they've entered the world in a totally different way. So for instance, I know my daughter's probably gonna, well, she's definitely an old soul. She really pushes like me forward. And then you've got my mum that would say to me, I have no idea where you've come from. What on earth? Where does all of this information come from? How are you doing this? Because it was growing up in the normal, you should be just doing the 9 to 5. You should just be doing, you know, and although she's, you know, don't get me wrong, really proud that, you know, I'm finding my own way, because I don't want to sit in a 9 to 5. That's not what, you know, feeds my soul. But equally going into it with no judgment. You know, and so when we're healing past things or understanding, like you said, you know, the inner child, it's seeing it from a different perspective and understanding that we're all just on the same journey. We've just got different stories.
Yes.
Including our parents.
And then on the same token, us as parents now.
Absolutely.
However old our kids may be, and if you don't have kids, you know, you may have younger, you know, like nieces, nephews, or, you know, having that awareness of how it's that conscious parenting teaching of, you know, they're not yours.
No.
For me, it was so freeing when I remember I'm telling my son, you know, my job is to teach you, to give you the tools.
They chose us.
And you chose me. Yeah, that's the story I shared in the book. The story of literally my son's little spirit choosing me in that whole experience at the hospital. And I know for a fact that we choose our parents, because I remember when my son's little spirit, it was 3 little cherubs and they were fighting, and he picked me. And so it's like we pick our parents, and our children pick us, and there's got to be a reason. And I think the reason is because when we come into this world, we are beautiful light being souls, that we are powerful, we are flowing with the God energy, with the source light and love inside of us. And it's almost like they're saying, okay, who wants this case, this family, you're going to go through this, and you may go through that, and they live in this country, so you may be this religion. And the harder it is, some of us are really brave. We're like, oh yeah, no, I'll get this one. I got it. That's me. Right? That's one way of looking at it. It's like 100%. we choose that. And and it's so awesome. I think it's a blessing when we can start seeing it like that. And we have some comments from Stacy. She was agreeing about the triggers, that she finds that triggers are triggered by me, not by someone. What you were saying.
Absolutely.
And that we need to take responsibility of our own shit. Blame is not serving anyone.
Nope.
You are exactly right about parents doing the best they could with what they knew. Thank you, Stacy, for all these comments. And then she wrote, Esme, aren't you glad I showed up to block down your feet? I'm sorry. No, I appreciate your comments, and thank you. I just hadn't gotten to it. And Martha is saying, right on, sign up for this life. Yes, Martha, we've talked about this, that even if we don't feel that we belong, we do. We're here for a reason, whatever that reason is. And like I tell my son, if you don't know like what you want to be when you grow up, which, I don't think we ask that anymore as much, but it's more like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What type of life, what type of person do you want to be?
How do you want to feel?
It's like, and then do the things that make you happy and fulfill your life. And that takes us back to reconnecting to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so healing, I don't know if we got off topic, or we were, I guess, in topic. So to recap, help me recap a little bit here. Healing your story. And you do help people with this. You talked a little bit about the program that you have. So I know you spoke a little bit about it. But let's just recap how to heal your story. What are the benefits? Because sometimes we have to sell that, like, hey, you may end up being a little happier.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, for me, the benefits are depending on, what is not showing up in your life right now. If you're struggling with money or relationships, are just like the two that just sort of ping to the top of my head, there will be a reason energetically why that is not actually flowing for you. And it doesn't have to be as hard as you perhaps think it is. It's just understanding the scripts. It's understanding where it's come from, or sometimes not even fully having to really know where it comes from. It just energetically shifts when you deal with other things. And so it really, for me, is about trying to people can generally feel quite uncomfortable with not having what they desire, but weirdly become comfortable in sticking in the uncomfortable.
Because it feels comfortable.
Because it feels comfortable to them. I mean, that's the craziness of
this. It's like having itchy underwear. But that's your favorite pair of underwear.
Exactly. Yeah. But you're not going to go and change them.
But or you keep, reusing it.
Exactly. And the thing is, if it's that uncomfortable, surely it's better off jumping off that merry-go-round, taking a leap of faith and trying something different. it's, for me in the sacred sanctuary, for me, I only want aligned people there. So I make it very easy for people to come along. If they come in for a month and they don't enjoy it and it's not for them and it's not aligned to them, I make it very easy for them to leave.
Bye-bye.
Because why would I energetically want to be keeping people in a container where it's not serving anybody, because it shifts the energy. But the people that are there are loving the support, the community, understanding that we're all going on different journeys. Nobody is scared of putting anything in the community. People can have crazy as like dreams, for instance, or things going on, and it's just so lovely to be able to help people unpick it throughout their journey. And then to maybe say, well, have you sent Reiki to that? Or you maybe use this EFT script, or have you done this meditation? So it enables them the opportunity to heal themselves, empower themselves, because we have to do this journey for ourselves. We have to, there's no quick fix to this. We have to do it.
And nobody can save you.
No, we can support. And, we have, like we've said, we have support, but equally, there is never a quick fix for this. It's about unraveling it and being brave enough to go on that journey. But surely if you're feeling that uncomfortable in not getting the life and business or whatever it is that you're desiring right now, surely it's better to try something different.
Exactly.
And,
wow. I love that group. That sounds amazing. And yeah, so let me read a few more comments. Thank you. Yeah, Martha was agreeing about the signing up for this live. And there's so much freedom in taking full responsibility that we did sign up for this. Yeah. And no matter how crappy it seems,
totally.
we signed up for it. And that shows how empowered we really are.
Yeah. I very much work on the basis these days that there's no good or bad.
Yes.
It just is. It just is.
What's the phrase? It's either a lesson, or you either, it's not win or lose. It's like you learn something. Basically, it's like either way you learn something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only giving you the opportunity to expand and move forward. So it's just a case of then understanding how to navigate your way through that. Especially at the moment, we're all, all of our crap is literally right to the surface. And, and I think this is, again, where another divide is taking place. They're going on, about like the 3D and the 5D divide and the 4D bridge collapsing, and that jump is going to be that much harder. I don't say that people can't do it, but there's, and I think there's so much fear and anxiety, and all that does is make people poorly. It makes them ill. So surely we're better off trying something a little bit different, just to see if that can actually help people move forward as a collective as well. You've got to work together.
I love I love, there's a quote, and I should have it with me. I'm really good at butchering quotes. so I'm paraphrasing, but basically I think it was Mother Teresa that basically said, if we all worried and kept our front door clean, like the front of our house clean.
Yeah.
And we preoccupied with cleaning that up and keeping it nice and neat and organized and clean, then the whole world would be clean.
Absolutely.
And so what that means is if we all are more concerned about working on ourselves, our self-development, our own, and I'll say happiness, but that embodies a lot of things. Absolutely. Whatever happiness means to you. It could be peace, it could be joy, it could be, financial freedom, it could be health, it could be, whatever that is that makes you feel good. Absolutely. But if you work on yourself and clean your own front step of your house,
100%.
And if we all did that, neighborhood by neighborhood, community by community, city by city, country by country, we'd all be happier and just more aligned and more fulfilled.
Absolutely.
And
it's never the external game, it's always the internal.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going on with COVID, with this. You know, it's like we don't have that. We can't go and pretend that everything is okay. It's like we're being faced,
no,
and then we're being crammed with people that know our triggers and all of that. You know, our loved ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why it's been, and that's the reason I started the show. You know, I wanted to help and share uplifting content, and have awesome people like you here sharing your story and your beautiful soul, your energy, and all the cool tools and amazing gifts that you have to share with us. Thank you for sharing all of this.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And let me see, I don't have it with me. How can people find you, connect with you if they want to learn more from you? Tell us your group, how we can find it.
Yeah, sure. I've got a free group, which is Head Straight, Heal Your Story. And then I also have, I do quite a lot on my personal profile, so you can always sort of find links from there as well on Facebook. I'm mainly on Facebook, but I do have a YouTube channel, also Head Straight, and Instagram, which is head.straight. But yeah.
And your website?
And the website, yeah, it's head-straight.com.
Okay, awesome. And I did share all of that in the text of this video. And I do want to take a few seconds before we say bye to let me do my fancy banner here. There it is. I forgot to do that earlier. So again, dear friends, I do ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Happy Soul Evolution. And do like, comment, and share those episodes. That's where all the Soul Talks with Esme episodes are in there. And in 2 weeks, I'll be closing up season 1. And it's just been an awesome journey. And sometime next year, in a few months, I don't know when, I will do season 2 again. And I will probably do it on YouTube only. So make sure you do subscribe and hit the notification so that you don't miss those videos. And also, I started my own group on Facebook. It's called Inner Healing Amigos. And because it had to be fun, right? I can't do it if it's not fun. And I mean, I can, but if it's just for me, it's got to be fun. And so, yeah, so if you join the group, it's free. And I do weekly energy clearing sessions. We started doing the chakras. Actually, today, in about 50 minutes, we're going to start the live session there in the group, private group. And we're going to do the heart chakra. So a lot of the stuff that we talked about here, we're going to clear over there. And also, I don't have the link ready yet, but I will be offering a 4-week program that I would love for you to do. It will be happening in December. So in the next couple of days, I'll be sharing that. So it'll be how to release and renew to be a happy new you. Because why? Because it's 2020 and I want us to release and let go of that fear, that one dark cave that is holding us back. And we'll walk you through it. It'll be a group program and I'll be sharing the details. So please, 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 I'll be so excited to have you there. I'll have limited space and I'm excited to tell you guys about it. And so let me go back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Katie, for allowing me to do a little housekeeping there.
No worries. No worries. Your show. Thank you for having me.
And you are going to start your own show, and I want to know about
it. Planning to next year. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on a mission. Got a few things to do the rest of this year, but yeah, next year.
that'll be exciting. So I'm just so happy and blessed that you're here, that you shared these awesome, your story, which was amazing, and your also, like I said, your gifts and your story. So thank you to everybody that's here. Everybody's saying great talk. Thank you both so much. Amazing time. Thank you both. Great talk. Then the people are commenting on the show that's the episode that's coming up for inner healing. So they're looking forward to the chakra sessions. We've had some powerful experiences there.
I'm sure.
It's been amazing. So wow. So I know it's late for you. Thank you so much. Joining us from the UK. Katie Morgan, I appreciate you. Sending you lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. And thanks everybody for joining us. I will see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.